Story recapped here. Today I'm going to explain a horror, music, and thriller film called We Summon the Darkness. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. In Indiana, in July 1988, punk best friends Alexis, Val, and Bev go on a road trip to watch their favorite bands perform at a heavy metal concert. As they stop at a gas station, Bev reads a newspaper article with the headline, "Teen slain in new satanic killings," and gets creeped out by it, while Alexis makes fun of her. On the counter, the station owner listens to a religious broadcast about how people who listen to heavy metal are hellbound, making the whole situation awkward. Back in the car, the trio also hears about the prevalent killings related to satanic cults around the country. Bev gets too tired of hearing it, so she changes the station. Out of nowhere, a blue vehicle overtakes them and throws a milkshake at their windshield. They stop by the side of the road and clean their car up, feeling incredibly pissed. Eventually, they arrive at the concert. As expected, many people have turned up to attend. The three agree on downing some drinks, needing a bit of liquid courage to enjoy the show, before heading out. Not long after, the girls notice the blue van from earlier, whose passengers threw a milkshake at their car. They concoct a mean plan to get their payback. Val throws a pack of small firecrackers inside, alarming the three boys, Ivan, Kovacs, and Mark. They hurriedly climb out of the vehicle and see the girls laughing at their expense. Realizing that the girls are just getting their revenge, Ivan makes it up to them by offering them some cold beers, a peace offering the girls willingly accept. Forming an unlikely friendship, the group talks more about their love for music and the bands that will perform at the show. In the middle of their discussion, Bev notices a book about satanic rituals inside the van, sensing that something is off about the boys. She ignores this, and they hang out with them anyway. As the concert starts, they all enjoy the show, dancing and singing along together. After the concert, Alexis decides that the night is still young and invites the three boys to her father's mansion. The boys like the idea of hanging out with a group of pretty girls, so they accept the kind invitation and drive off to the property. On their arrival, Alexis shows them around some of the rooms and gives a brief run-through of the whole place. They all decide to have a drink by a campfire in the backyard while they continue talking about upcoming rock bands. Throughout the night, Bev starts to act weirdly and out of her character. When Alexis asks her, she merely replies by saying that she's never done anything like this before. Alexis reassures her that everything will be fine as long as she just follows her lead. Bev is convinced to mingle with the group and heads outside. She bumps into Mark, spilling her drink. Mark offers her his jacket, where she finds a pocket knife inside. She walks away, feeling disturbed and wondering why he's casually carrying a sharp weapon with him. She expresses her concerns to Alexis, but she only tells her worried friend to relax and enjoy the night. After they make a toast to having a memorable night, Alexis initiates a game of Never Have I Ever, and they all share laughs and exchange stories about funny experiences they have tried. Suddenly, Alexis says, "Never have I ever drugged someone's drink." None of them take a shot initially, but Ivan and Kovacs are surprised to see the three girls take one. In a long stretch of silence, the girls reveal that they drugged the drinks beforehand. The boys then slowly pass out one by one. As the girls wake them up, Ivan, Mark, and Kovacs find themselves tied to chairs in a room filled with candles. Val and Alexis keep taunting the boys in a menacing and sinister way while Bev stands behind them, observing the whole situation as it is her first time. The three boys desperately ask them to let them go while screaming for help, but it proves to be ineffective. It turns out that the three girls are members of a congregation called the Daughters of the Dawn. Their members are also responsible for the several murders circling the country. Every week, a specific group is assigned to conduct brutal crimes to practice what they believe in. They explain further that the reason behind it is to create fear among the nation and send more people to join their religion. When Mark asks more critical questions about the religion, Alexis becomes more agitated in explaining and reasoning out the logic of their congregation. Meanwhile, Ivan has had enough of her big speech. He continues to look down on their beliefs, saying that it is nothing short of pointless and stupid. Alexis becomes furious and stabs him in the neck, causing him to bleed to death. She then approaches Mark, commanding him to beg for forgiveness while she holds him at knife point. Just as Alexis is about to stab him, Bev holds her back, saying they need to talk about something urgent. Val and Alexis hesitantly follow her out of the room, giving the two boys an opportunity to come up with a plan to escape. In the bathroom, Bev tells both of them that she wants to be the one who kills Mark and Kovacs. Alexis agrees, so she gives out instructions on how to bring them out. However, the two boys briefly escape and find a safe room to hide so that they could spare more time. but as they hear the trio approaching, they get trapped inside the pantry. The girls are aware that the boys are hiding right behind the pantry door. Inside, Mark tends to Kovac's wounds which he got while trying to flee from the girls. Meanwhile, to speed up the process of their agenda, Alexis orders Bev to find tools so they could break the door quickly. She hesitantly abides after Alexis blames the nuisance on her. Shaken by everything she has witnessed, Bev tries her best to maintain composure while getting tools from a nearby shed. In the house, chaos is just about to start again when Alexis finds aerosol and sprays it by the door, causing Mark and Kovacs to cough and have difficulty breathing. Suddenly, they hear someone arrive at the house and immediately stop what they are doing to find out who it is. To Alexis' surprise, her stepmother, Susan, came by the house to retrieve a passport she needed for her trip the next day. Before leaving, she informs Alexis that she called the police because she saw a strange blue van parked and the lights on, thinking that someone might have broken in, but realizes that it was just a false alarm. Just as she makes her way out, Susan hears broken bottles in the pantry and senses that something is going on, so she tries to make her way there to find out on her own. Alexis repeatedly says that nothing is there, but her actions seem defensive, making Susan more curious. Susan discovers Ivan's lifeless body in the living room. This forces Alexis to take a fatal course of action and immediately stabs her. The commotion makes Val panic for some time as killing an extra person was not part of their plan. To make things worse, the police are on their way. All the while, Bev is still at the shed, unable to face the chaos in the house. She scours through some documents that contain property titles owned by Alexis' father, John Henry, and a bag of money. In the pantry, Mark and Kovacs prepare to battle the girls with broken wine bottles, but Alexis and Val use an aerosol spray to put flames by the doorway. This puts the boys in a much more vulnerable position, given that they are trapped inside. At that exact moment, an officer named Sheriff Dembrowski arrives at the house as a response to Susan's call, and Alexis tries to reason out with the officer so that he could leave. However, Dembrowski is not shaken by her charms and alibis, so he requires Alexis to provide an ID, but she runs away instead. He chases her into the house and comes across the site of Satanic symbols, and Ivan's corpse in the living room. The scene gets him in complete disbelief and terror, making him more vigilant of his surroundings. After hearing noises from the pantry, he finds the injured Kovacs and Mark, who pleads for help. Dembrowski refuses to believe them, putting them in handcuffs. Unbeknownst to him, Val sneaks up from behind him, takes his weapon, and shoots him dead, making the two boys enter the pantry once again. Upon finding out that Val killed Dembrowski, Alexis freaks out and takes the gun away from her, but she refuses, causing them to brawl. As they fight over the weapon, Bev appears out of nowhere and threatens her friends with an electric trolling motor. She tells them that she will let the boys go despite their contradictions. Her friends tell Bev that they are practicing the Lord's work, but Bev has had enough of all the lies, revealing that Alexis' father, one of the religion's leaders, is simply pocketing the donations made by members. Instead of building shelters which he promised, he spends the money on purchasing luxurious houses like the one they are in. While Alexis calls Bev a lost lamb for not thinking straight and participating in their plan, Val sneaks up on her, and she manages to knock Val down. An enraged Bev inflicts wounds on both her friends using the trolling motor just as Mark and Kovacs gather the courage to exit the pantry. They set their eyes on Bev and attack her. This allows Alexis and Val to run away when the two boys realize that Bev is on their side. As time passes, Kovacs' condition worsens and he will not last much longer unless he is brought to a hospital. Willing to get out, Mark grabs a knife to retrieve the car keys from Alexis while Bev helps the bloody Kovacs hide in a safe corner as they deal with her friends. When Kovacs spots car lights from outside, he makes his way out despite his struggles. There, he finds John Henry, the pastor of the Daughters of the Dawn, and also Alexis' father. Initially, John Henry opens a casual conversation with Kovacs, who is utterly distressed. Then, he instructs Kovacs to go to the car, call 911, and hand him the weapon. Kovacs follows his instructions but suddenly recognizes him as the famous pastor. John Henry notices the look of recognition and mercilessly shoots him dead. In the dark home, the last remaining people try their best to be as quiet as possible, which is their tool for survival. It now draws a thin line between life and death, as every move and sound is crucial. When Bev tracks the light switch, Val sneaks up on her again to prevent her from turning the light back on. Without a choice, they beat each other up despite their friendship, and Bev lights Val's hair full of hairspray on fire, giving her a way to put the power back on. Meanwhile, Mark manages to get a hold of his car keys in the bedroom, but Alexis fights him, causing a big fight inside the room. Unexpectedly, Kovacs makes it back inside the house, where Bev comes to his rescue. Before he dies, he pleads with Bev to save Mark no matter what, his final act of honoring their friendship. In a matter of minutes, John Henry shoots Mark, who is strangling Alexis in the bedroom. John Henry berates his daughter for not controlling the situation, costing more bodies for him to cover up. In tears, Alexis explains that it isn't her fault, but her father says they have to make some sacrifices to get out of the trouble she has caused the group. John Henry attempts to strangle Alexis when Bev comes from behind and knocks him unconscious. After thanking Bev for saving her, Alexis still acts manically and strangles her in return. Dramatically, Bev throws her right out of a window as an act of self-defense before coming to Mark's rescue. Both of them flee the house, leaving all of the dead bodies behind in cold blood. The two jump into the car and do not even take a moment to look at the scene that overtook the place. To their surprise, they see Alexis bravely standing on their way, hungry for more brutality, leaving no choice but for Bev to run her over. The following day, news reports about the incident are broadcasted on television. John Henry, who made it out alive, turns himself into a victim, claiming that his daughter, Alexis, joined a satanic cult called We Summon the Darkness, causing everything to go downhill. At the same gas station they stopped at, Bev gathers some medical supplies to tend to her wounds and sees the owner watching the news. Before leaving, she reminds him not to believe everything he sees, but the old man just gets puzzled by this. Back in the car, Bev and Mark leave the town and the darkness it has caused them. Subscribe to watch more videos like this. Turn on notifications. And leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.